Okay, so as we kick off this week and we take a look at our beautiful spread that has come forward, we're feeling into just some overview highlights of the week ahead, what's happening energetically, and kicking it off here even today as I record this on Sunday, August 27th, Mars has entered Libra. So I mentioned that scales, balancing, harmony energy that I'm feeling in the 2 6s that have come up for our week ahead. We've got fiery Mars now moving into the balanced sign of Libra. And so Mars in Libra encourages us to get balanced, especially when it comes to where we are putting our time and attention. So with Mars in Libra, we may also be feeling more passionate about issues that are relating to justice, equality, and fairness because of those scales, right? And the balancing of the scales. And like I said, as you can see here, the 6 of Pentacles for the Tuesday energy as a potential block or challenge, and then ending the week with the 6 card of the Lovers, which brings in duality and choice. So there's definitely all of that being highlighted. And I feel like too, of course, in Libra, in Virgo season, as we are, this idea of looking at what we are putting our time and attention into, getting organized, clearing out the excess, really getting down to those checklists and our routines and the balancing. And I'm also, like I said, feeling the nourishment card from the Queen of the Moon, speaking to that as well, about our bodies and our wellness and so many other things. But just be aware today on Sunday, the 27th, in fact, that aspect is at play, and definitely bringing in that energy of an encouragement for more balance, greater balance, bringing in also that nod toward justice, equality, and fairness. Now, tomorrow, August 28th, is the day that we've been talking about, saying that by the end of the month, we're going to have 7 planets and Chiron in retrograde. Well, this is the day that number 7 joins the crew. Uranus is joining Mercury, Venus, Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto, as well as the asteroid Chiron, into a retrograde journey. So now that makes the 6 planets in retrograde plus Chiron. So, the weeks that are to come may continue to feel even more sluggish, and that's because, and as I say that, I cannot believe it's Sunday. I cannot believe it's the end of August. So it's kind of this weird push-pull, like at least how it's been showing up for me, that I can't believe how time is passing and flying, and yet there's this sluggishness, this slowing down, this, again, all the re's, because with so many astral bodies moving in that backwards motion, time can feel like it's moving very slowly or fast, or both. Hey, here I am, right? I'm feeling both, so I can attest to that. So Uranus, being the planet of change and awakening, when it's in retrograde, we're usually invited to go over any changes that we've recently experienced and assessing whether there's any adjustments that we may need to make. And, there's much more to get into about Uranus in retrograde, but that's just something to be very aware of because, Uranus was very active in the last lunation that we talked about, the new moon in Leo, and the idea of awakenings and ahas and shocking things and surprising things that could come about. So once again, now that it's going into retrograde, kind of going back over those things and really potentially reevaluating, reassessing, and reacclimating ourselves to those things as well. Then, of course, we have August 30th, that Pisces blue super full moon, right? So expedaliosia, I keep saying it's a mouthful. It's a lot and it's big. So these are intense energies. And, as they say, it happens only once in a blue moon. So this is super rare that there's a blue full moon falling in the sign of Pisces, which, as I was saying, with that water element, bringing in that soft, sensitive vibration. But it's also a super moon, which means it's going to be very close to the earth, allowing us to feel its vibrations even more strongly, amplifying that energy. And, being in the sign of Pisces, it does bring that dreamy, ethereal quality to things. And so it could be hard for us to think with our logical minds, and much easier for us to just feel swept up in our emotions, in our feels, right? While being close to our emotions can be a valuable thing, we do have an opportunity to be mindful of allowing our emotions to overwhelm us, of feeling like we're drowning in all of that. And it's interesting, we didn't get any cups, did we? No, we didn't get any cups on the altar this week. So that's very interesting, because as much as in the deep feels as it can be with Pisces, we don't have any cups showing up here, but we do have this nourishment card. So we're going to talk about that. But really being cognizant of that and finding that balance, that sweet spot. The full moon here has very strong energy as well. So we might really be feeling that pull to release and let go of toxic situations in our life. So cleansing, the energy of cleansing and clearing. Of course, also Saturn, the master teacher planet, is also active under this full moon. So we might find ourselves on the receiving end of some tough lessons. So of course, I'm going to be diving into that deep with the Empowerment Pack. If you are already with me, stay tuned. If you are not and you want to join in, you can always scoop up the Hello Empowerment reading. That is a great, thorough, typically it's a 3-card plus spread that I do, but you can use that reading to get in on the full moon and be able to receive the full video with spread that I will do for the Empowerment Pack with all the deep dive messages, and then a personal oracle card just for you to build off of those messages. There's a report, all the photos. So if you're interested in that, let me know and we will get you in with us for that. And speaking of which, I am a little behind on getting my flyer out there for the September Empowerment Pack, but that is absolutely kicking off on Friday already. So if you didn't get a chance to come along, or you're curious and want to check it out, the September Empowerment Pack will be booking for another month of empowerment. So more to come on that as well. So let's go ahead and start diving into our Monday through Friday cards and really feeling into these energies coming up. Okay, guys, we are kicking it off with Monday's energy coming in hot as the fiery King of Wands. So, Leo season isn't over yet so much, in the way that we're still feeling the energy of shining our light, of being bold, of that fire element. With this sort of setting the tone for our week, the King of Wands, which is a very fiery energy, bringing in like an entrepreneurial spirit, aspects of leadership. And so whenever we get any of the court cards on the altar, there's an energy of potentially people in our orbit, ourselves or others around us, or aspects of situations or personalities, or even just energies that we can call on to navigate. So, whether you identify with you sort of setting out boldly on a new venture, or even if you are heading somewhere or moving into something, that there's this energy of having courage, of embodying that I am energy that we've been talking about all month, of shining on, shining our light, being authentic, standing in our power, and that energy of that solar plexus, the yellow, and that spectrum of yellow showing up in its highest vibration as bravery, courage, strength, in its lowest vibration as fear, anxiety, worry. And so summoning that, and you see how he's dressed in red. So I'm getting this energy of being grounded, of really needing to get in our bodies, and I think that's the Virgo energy coming in to say, listen, let's get down to business. Let's get down to earth here with this element of what needs to be done and the best way to move forward doing it, with the decisiveness of a king, of embodying that energy. So like I said, this could be something that you're already stepping into this week on a new adventure, stepping into some new project, job. Like I said, back to school is happening everywhere. And it's not just school, but in many ways we're going back into a situation where we need to carry that torch high and bright, is what I'm feeling. So let's take a look at what the mantra is for Monday. Passionate and heart-fueled, we build this empire of light together. So that's beautiful. And so if we are embodying the energy of the King of Wands, which is bringing forward that entrepreneurial spirit, being a natural born leader, like I said, ideas that can be ultra successful, a creative visionary, that could mean that you might be feeling a little inspired. You might be having some dreams too this week, and some little spiritual breadcrumbs that are coming in, sort of lighting that trail, lighting that way forward for what is to come. Again, we're not there yet. We're in transition. We're in the process of starting, but we are protected. We have strength. We have reason to be brave and courageous, to know that we are able to bring these things forward. And so getting grounded is key here, of really rooting in and bringing practical, down to earth, everyday steps that we can take to get there. So, that's going to show up differently for everyone, and we'll see how that plays out in the potential blocks and challenges and such. But there is this energy that we can lean into to summon that spirit of the King of Wands. So, again, when that is challenged, it can be a little over ambitious. It can be, an ego out of balance a little bit, which is interesting given the card that's right behind it. We'll talk about that in a moment. So yeah, egomania, out of balance. So that's potential too for some of the characters in the mix. Maybe being too assertive or having explosive emotions, like I said, with that Pisces energy, or impatient. Let's go already. This fire is burning. The engine is revving. Like, I want to get this going. And 7 planets in retrograde say, not so fast. It's time to just let it roll, and there's still work to be done. There's still aspects that need to be balanced before you can roll forward. But know that what is coming forward now are the absolute steps to success. This is about success. This is about being a leader in your industry. It's about, having that torch, that passion that you're carrying forward that is absolutely big time, crucial, major, happening. It's pivotal, like we've been saying August would be, but it's in transition. So really best served for us to be rooting, grounding into that energy, embodying it, and again, feeling like we're down, boots on the ground, in the trenches, doing the work, taking the steps one at a time. So let's go ahead and see how a potential block or challenge could show up. Okay, so Tuesday shows up as a potential block or challenge we can encounter this week, and we have the 6 of Pentacles, bringing in the scales, bringing in balance and reciprocity, giving and receiving. So Pentacles is totally keeping us in the root chakra, in our base needs, in our abundance, in the exchange of energy here. So there's an exchange happening, and as I talked about, this Libra energy with Mars entering Libra and highlighting that feeling drawn towards balancing things out, time, energy of wanting justice and fairness and scales being righted. So those are some different things that can be challenging, especially if that's not happening, if we don't see that happening, or it's things that are outside of our control in terms of things being fair or balanced or righted, right? But just bringing it down again, but boots on the ground, how that might show up for us, this can be about balancing that exchange of energy. So ways that we're looking at how we are distributing our energy and where we can make some changes and adjustments and making things more balanced and fair for all, which can involve, taking some steps in a particular direction that may or may not be understood or received from the other party, right? So if we have the scales and they're sort of kind of heavier in one direction than the other in terms of giving and receiving, and then we want to sort of balance that out by maybe removing some things off of that scale or adding some things over here, there's an adjustment, there's a recalibration that needs to happen, and sometimes that can be a little bit, helter-skelter, right, as it's happening. So looking at those ways and that's kind of, one of the reasons that I'm doing it this way is because I'm recognizing a need for me to create some more balance in my life, in that I have 4 children and they are all getting ready to go back to school. I have student athletes. There's a lot of moving parts that, as much as I love coming on Sunday nights and doing the live, typically it runs about 2 hours. I've got to start pulling back bedtimes and getting things ready to kick off the week. And I'm recognizing places where my scales need to be better balanced. And is there a way for me to make it happen by redistributing, right? Same 6 pentacles here, but redistributing how they are coming out, so how is that showing up for you? And how can that be challenging? Because especially if some pentacles need to go in baskets that we're not particularly jazzed about filling, right? Like some of those tasks and to-do items are things that we would really rather not have to do, or things that could be like kind of weighing on us, and that can even create some, resentment or frustration because we're not having time to fill our baskets the way that we would like. And so that's where it can get a little bumpy. That's where, again, with that, I'm really feeling that Libran energy of how it's showing up in our relationships. Again, Venus is still in retrograde. I know I talk about this every time, but it's been such a front and center player here of highlighting our relationships, of highlighting how we relate to our relationships. So do we need to summon some of that King of Wands spirit when it comes to shining a light on, holding a torch, being brave and courageous enough to stand in what we need in order for us to feel that things are more balanced and evenly distributed and more fair, or however that could be showing up for you. Now, this can also just be speaking to finances. The pentacles very much can be about money and earthly material wellness. So that can be finances, what we are investing in, what we are spending on, monies coming due that are needing to change hands, that type of energy as well. So there could be a little bit of like prying that out of our fingers as we're having, that's happening for me too. Like dues are coming up for some of these aforementioned kids sports, and like you can't make it up, it's a hefty bill, and there's a lot more to that as far as the fairness of that and when I think about that. But nonetheless, you might be prying that out of my Venmo account or my checkbook, so that could be a challenge as well. Or maybe looking at what we invest in and what we don't. So again, I'm just bringing my personal experience to the table to share, but how that shows up for you can vary widely, but it could be a highlight on money as well, is what I'm feeling. Now let's take a look at the mantra here. I show gratitude for my life through generosity and compassion. Yeah, there's another component here. 6 of Pentacles, about charity, about giving, about, the haves and the have-nots. So there's another place where those gaps can be identified and bring forward a form of two-way abundance, giving and receiving. Being charitable, it's a positive and generous mindset. So there's always enough. I am enough. I have enough. That's another thing, as you think about, again, full moon, we're looking at what we're releasing and letting go and shedding more so than what we're manifesting. But I like to think of these pentacles too as seeds, seeds that we're planting. And so as we close out this cycle, as we close out this moon cycle, this month, as we gear up for the equinox later in the month in September, we're looking at what seeds we're planting to bring into the new as well. So, wanting to bring forward that positive, generous mindset and thinking, what it is that we want to materialize in our lives. Inflows of abundance as well, and just help coming from others, and allowing a lean on me energy, right? So I give, but I also have an opportunity to allow myself to receive. Sometimes I am the one receiving, sometimes I'm the one giving, bringing a balance there. But again, that can be a challenge. It can be hard for us to say, I need help. It can be hard for us to admit where we may need some help from others. But, there's an opportunity for us to recognize, and, this is embodying that spirit of knowing that it takes a village and that it is okay. I can still be the king of my domain, but also lean into some help and allow myself to receive from others just as I so generously give, right? Both of these carry a warmth and a generosity as well. So as that presents itself as a potential block or challenge for you, really feeling the weight. How does that feel in me when I think about my obligations and the things that I have signed up for, or maybe sometimes feel like I didn't sign up for, but I have to do anyway, and wherein lies the choice and the ability to strike that balance, So how that may show up for us will certainly vary, but feeling this opportunity for us to really look at how those scales can be better balanced. So let's go ahead and look at the star of the week on Wednesday with this supercalifragilisticexpialidocious moon. Okay, Wednesday, highlighting our blue super moon in Pisces. We've got the 5 of Wands. And as I mentioned during the card pull, I lovingly refer to this card as the stirring the poop card, right? There's this group of people, and they are clamoring, scrabbling, stepping on everything to get there, right? Stepping on. And there's this energy of stirring things around in a rather lower vibrational way, in a way that is not fruitful, in a way that might be a little devoid of the lean on me strategy, where we could be balanced this week in balancing those scales, right? So there's this competitive energy, there's competition there, and on one hand. So I'm gonna kind of feel into that aspect. Of course, we have our nourishment card as well highlighting, so I'm gonna talk about that separately, just to bring in the beautiful messages from the Queen of the Moon on this overarching energy that the moon is offering us. But, when it comes to a midweek blessing, okay, and how is it a blessing to be feeling like, we might be spurned on by others in a sort of competitive way or what? But, there's a silver lining there, because it can actually be a good thing for us to be motivated by others who are working toward a goal or looking to achieve something. And, as I said, for people in many different circles, whether you are setting out on something new, one of the things I'm getting a nod to here is, like I said, about the entrepreneurial spirit of the King of Wands. If you're setting out there and you have a unique light to shine in the world, it definitely crossed my path this weekend in more ways than one of a common thread of message that comes up a lot, especially in these social media environments, about comparison-itis, about the not good enough isms, and what we see on the surface that others have going on. I mentioned sometimes our spiritual gardens and kind of being overly aware of what's going on over there in their garden and what all they have and how did they get that, and they do it so well that like there's no need for me, and there can be this sense of comparison in the way of not feeling good enough, or not feeling like we have something unique to offer. But we do, and we can find the blessing in knowing that no matter what, many of us might be doing very similar things. Many of us may have come from a similar foundation when it comes to, the messages that we're bringing forward and the experiences that we have had. However, no one has experienced things entirely through your lens, and you have a unique voice, you have a unique gift to share. So if you feel like in your industry or in your, circles that you're feeling not able to shine fully because there's this feeling of this needing to clamber to the top, that's one of the things that I really abhor about social media. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here on Marco Polo, because it is sort of this quiet corner that has no ads, no algorithms, there's no pressure. I took some time, I've been spending time with family, and I had some traveling to do, and it leaves me feeling like, I haven't posted, I'm not posting, I'm not getting the engagement. I can't stand any of that. I just repel it. And so as a result, I'll do nothing. And when I do nothing, then I see other people doing it, stirring it. And it's fine that they are. Everybody's doing it their own way and participating in different ways. But it can create this sense of what we've been seeing all month prior to this, was that FOMO energy, fear of missing out, fear of FOFO, fear of fitting out, not fitting in, missing out. There's this aspect of what all everybody else has going on. How can we flip that script into a blessing to say, I want to be inspired by that. I want to support you, balance those scales, lean on me, deposit into your account, deposit into my account. There is enough for all, right? So one of the beautiful messages, I love the mantra for this card. It says, I support others and they support me, and we rise together in accelerated harmony. It reminds me of the song, I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. I support others and they support me. So I just want to say, let me think of this. So just for fun, as a midweek blessing, maybe a little challenge to ourselves to be very cognizant this week of going out of your way to support someone else. It can be 100% free. It doesn't have to cost you a dime. Whether it's taking the time, if it is related to social media or the circles that many of us are in and supporting other small business entrepreneurs, whether it's a shout out, a share of their products, or an experience that you had with them, or taking the time to, share, like, boost in some way. But then, of course, outside of social media, just holding the door and smiling at a stranger, or going out of your way to just have eye contact with the person at the cash register, just taking that extra step. And if that's something that you already do on a regular basis, beautiful. Thank you for shining your light in the world and for setting that tone and making it possible for others to be inspired by that ripple effect of paying it forward. But maybe just a consciousness there. I don't know. This is totally off the beaten path of full moon, 5 of the, stirring the poop, all the things. How about we blaze a trail of, stepping on everybody to be like supportive and to have that give and take, But yeah, this can also be about being pushed by others to excel, being inspired by others to do better, to do more. Brainstorming, and also, just having like a dynamic energy of leveling up, wanting to take something to the next level. So in what ways are we blessed this week to have the opportunity of wisdom of seeing maybe others shining their light, others who have arrived, and applauding for them, cheering them on, genuinely heartfelt, recognizing, again, we all have our unique light to shine in this world. There is enough for all. And so let us bring together this energy of striking that balance and having that exchange. I don't have to step on you to be able to shine my light. We can all shine our light, and in fact should all shine our lights, because when we do, it's blinding, right? So if we're all holding that frequency and we raise that bar and shine our light on a new way, that it doesn't have to be all of this scrambling and stirring of the poop and stepping all over each other and arguing for argument's sake, or emerging out the victor or being the one to get there first. If we can make it cool to be in this space of genuinely balancing out the scales to bring in that harmony into our relationships of give and take and support and enough. Not enough-isms versus abundance of enough-isms, right? So there's just this energy there that I'm feeling that really can help to give us a boost without having to step on our neighbor. So we'll see, how that shows up as I dig in deeper into the empowerment pack when we do our full moon reading coming up. But let's go ahead and see what this beautiful card has to tell us about nourishment. Okay, so here we have the nourishment card, which has the mantra, I choose to nourish myself. And so this card speaks of making a choice. And again, we have energies of choice on the altar this week with some of this balancing of the scales and shining light on things, and culminating into Friday's card, the Lovers, card of duality and choice. Getting grounded and coming into our bodies here with the choice to nourish your mind, your body, and your spirit, to feed your values. So here we go. This feels actually very connected into this 5 of Wands we were just talking about. When you are jealous or envious, it is a sign of what you are actually hungering for. So pay attention to your health. So that's really interesting. You know how they say, when you have certain cravings for salty or sweet or something specific, that it's a sign that you need more of a certain vitamin or mineral? Well, when you are feeling twinges of jealous or envy or not enough isms or all the things we were just talking about in the stirring, that is a sign. That's a gift, because it's a red flag. It's a squeaky wheel that's letting you know that there's a void. There's something you are hungering for that you are looking to fill. So it asks you to look at your health. Take a look there. And so this goes on to speak to all of us having our own set of values, and that those are as individual as our fingerprints. So we all have our unique perspectives and our unique values and priorities. And sometimes we aren't sure what they might be if we're asked, but unconsciously we know. How do we know? Because if our values are not being met or lived, we rebel, right? We get angry, sad, depressed, irritable, or stuck. Or we take the chaotic choice in our decision making, and commonly our relationships and our life are not harmonious. So this is so interesting. So here's this gorgeous card coming from a totally different deck. We have multiple cards coming up this week from the Light Seers that speak to harmony, to balance, to fairness, to relationships here in the term of fair or not. And this, I mentioned about some of the responsibilities and steps and to-do items that we may or may not be feeling very jazzed about, that could even build up some sense of resentment or frustration. And here comes this card also acknowledging when you are feeling compelled to rebel. And I will say that my pupper Cooper is feeling compelled right now to howl because my husband and son just left the house, and he is he gets very sad when he's not included. So he's feeling the FOMO right now. So you might hear him crying in the background outside. That we can feel some of those lower vibrational emotions: anger, sadness, depression, irritability, or stuckness. And so we could feel that way, or we take the chaotic choice in our decision making, and then our relationships as a result and our life are not harmonious. So, for example, it could be someone who has a strong value of honesty that's being asked to manipulate the truth every day in a sales job, or someone who highly values peace being surrounded by loud, drama-filled people who are just the opposite of peaceful. I feel that. I feel that. So yeah, being asked to be submerged in an environment that doesn't support your values and your needs and what is of importance to you. So, meeting our values and living by them is a sure way to nourish our being. So we might feel more complete and fulfilled when we are able to do that. But here's the thing, we're not always able to do that. Sometimes we do go down into the trenches of environments and circumstances that don't feel very nourishing. And we all have varying degrees of opportunity to set boundaries and create distance. Some of us may live more solitary lifestyles where that's more realistic and doable, and some of us might be living under a roof with many different people, or have a lot going on, or have a lot of responsibilities and obligations to others that we're living the experience. So we're needing to be able to nourish and support ourselves to be in our optimal shape to go in there, to be able to like I keep saying, boots on the ground, but like suiting up and going in with that, armor of energy protection that helps us to thrive in those environments that aren't nourishing to us when that's where we find ourselves. Additionally, it's probably not an exaggeration to say that, at least in the Western world, there is a lot of focus on food for the wrong reasons. So this, again, Virgo style, is bringing us into really looking at how do you literally nourish yourself? What are you ingesting? What are you eating, right? So, food being used as a comfort or pain relief, or, in excess or out of balance due to any type of anxiety or comfort, that type of thing, food can become a diversion rather than something that is nourishing or even simply enjoyable. So this card speaks to learning to nourish bodies purely to give them what they really need, and understanding that that is the key to our mental and physical health. It does say as well that the companion stone is the emerald. And I will say I already found myself today reaching for the Emerald Renewal and Recovery Spray. I always do that when I'm feeling a little overwhelmed, the heaviness of responsibilities or in my environment, or something where I'm needing some renewal, recovery, and a type of, boost of energy. So again, be gentle with yourself, flowing through this full moon, knowing that as much as the super moon, of course, the moon is full and it is closest to the earth, so it's illuminating and shining a light on things. The Pisces aspect does bring in a bit of illusory energy and intangibility that can make it difficult for us to really pinpoint. So there is an energy of, again, best served getting grounded, coming into our bodies, and kind of going through that checklist. That checklist where when you're feeling some type of way, checking your list of all your needs being met. Like, am I hungry? Am I tired? Am I hot? Am I cold? Like really coming into your body and recognizing what base needs may need to be attended to before you can even begin to attempt to achieve all of the things that you're asking your body to do. So, just something to reflect on there about our well-being, about our nourishment, and really allowing ourselves to be present in our bodies and being attentive to what it is that we need. So like I said, more to come on that full moon over on the Empowerment Pack for anyone who wants to join. But let's go ahead and take a look at our Thursday energy here. Okay, Thursday is the card that represents how we are growing. How are we growing with our collective energy as we take a look at this week and all that we are moving through the last day of August? Here, Thursday, the Star, the beautiful card of hope, of renewal, of healing, of promise. And I love how this version has that little tether of holding on to hope, holding on to what you're wishing for. And, there is a degree of patience that's being asked for here in really tuning into, keeping our eye on the prize. And again, like I was saying about the energies of what we are moving through now are crucial steps in the process of this in-between of getting where we are going and having faith and trust in the fact and that hope, holding on to that hope energy to expect miracles. And in fact, that is the mantra that goes with this card: expect miracles, because they are all coming together for you. That star shining in the sky, and we all have that unique light to shine, and it is reflecting back to us, again, those little breadcrumbs, those little hints along the way of where to next, and illuminating those things for us. So there's every reason for us to be really attuned to having hope, having faith, and really trusting that through the healing, through the process of doing the healing work, of nourishing ourselves, of caring for ourselves physically, of making these little shifts and changes in our life and flipping that perspective, that each one of those steps along the way are getting us ever closer to realizing our biggest and brightest potential. So looking at a message of this card, the Star, which is so beautiful, I expect miracles. So expectations fulfilled, wishes granted, opportunities of healing after traumatic events. This card comes in after the Tower. So after the Tower in the tarot, where lightning strikes, the building crumbles, people are falling, like it feels like you're having your Tower moment of everything falling apart. It all comes back together with every reason for hope and healing. So it's beautiful through the Fool's journey, how it moves through from the Tower moment actually being the very thing, getting knocked off kilter, having the rug ripped out from underneath, having our stability shaken, that we have the energy of growing into the knowledge that it's all ever moving towards our highest and greatest good. and well-being for us to orchestrate all of this. And sometimes if we could just relinquish that hold on controlling the hows and the whys and wheres, that the universe will bring all of that together for us. That when we plant those seeds, when we set those intentions, when we really, pluck out and clear away the excess that's weighing us down and preventing us from really being able to harness this magic, then the universe can get to work to make it happen for us in miraculous ways. And I mean, I've seen this. I wouldn't be saying it if it wasn't something that I've actually seen happen in my life and in so many other people's lives, of the ways and the means just happening as if by magic, things just falling together, all from a simple shift in perspective, all from just looking at things from different angles. And it could be the tiniest little change of something that you may have grappled with and struggled with and stirred around forever, feeling like there is no end in sight. There's no way I'm ever going to reach that top and be able to harness that light. And yet one little turn, one little change actually makes it all come together. And then when we look back, we realize why it was that we had to be down in the mud for so long. That had we not known what it was like to be down there slinging mud and doing all those things, we wouldn't have the rich understanding and appreciation that we now have of what it is to be holding that wish or dream come true in our hands. So that's a really beautiful energy to be growing into. Really allowing ourselves to have dreamlike inspiration. Pisces, right? Feeling that energy of that full moon, dreaming of what is possible, allowing ourselves to imagine, allowing ourselves to embrace that energy. And again, like I said, it brings through a message of divine timing and renewed hope. And it guides you to reach for a string of serendipity and faith. Oh, that's beautiful. Reach for that string of serendipity and faith. Isn't that beautiful? To think about that is possible, and you are just as worthy, just as deserving of that as anyone else. Again, no matter how crowded the pool is, it is there for you too. So hold on to hope. That's a really beautiful message. I think I'm going to leave it there because I think it says it all. Let's go take a look at Friday. Okay, finally, Friday, September 1st, kicking off a new month, we have the Lovers, Major Arcana energy coming in here, ×2, Star and Lovers bringing in significant energy this week as we turn that page of the calendar from August to September. The Lovers traditionally is bringing in a message of duality and choice and seeing an opportunity for harmony and it also highlights like bringing heaven to earth, embodying that energy of what is possible, of the vibrations that we can hold here and now as we navigate all of this, holding that vibration as we carry that torch. Look at this energy we have coming in with the light to wind down our shine on. The torch, the light shining. There is a beautiful energy of the fire, the passion, the creation of something new that's on the horizon, that each one of us is holding a specific piece of that puzzle that is coming together, and it plays out a million different ways in all of our lives every day, beginning with a choice, right? A choice of whether I'm going to see something as purgatory or this punishment or a sense of something that I'm not worthy, that I have to repent or I have to earn my way into something that's far out there that doesn't belong to me, maybe to other people, but not to me, or if I'm seeing myself already in that Garden of Eden of possibility and potentiality and abundance and enough isms for all, right? Enough for all, and bringing in this energy of harmony and balance. And so, this can also evoke images of partnerships of all kinds, romantic partnerships, soul mates. So mates in soul form, other fools that we are incarnating with here on this journey, serving each other in our fool's journeys. So soulmate, not just in the sense of romantic partnerships, but also all of the key players that, and oftentimes some of the most challenging, some of the most difficult dynamics, actually serving up for us just what is needed and desired by us on soul level. So I always say, you may wonder, why would I ever wish to be in that environment, to have that circumstance or situation at hand? It's not about what our ego wants. It's what our soul desires to experience in this lifetime. So that's a big message, right? That's big, right? We're just talking about casual Friday here. But I'm saying that all of this, feeling the pressure and the squeeze of this energy coming in from these dynamics with others, these imbalanced scales, this unfairness, these injustices, I'm seeing sort of these two here, and they're flanked by these two very powerful light-filled images of power and strength and courage and hope and faith and healing. Here we have this imbalance and this inequity and this stepping all over and this energy that's not serving, right? But how do we come to know that it's not serving? By experiencing it in all of its not servingness, right? Of knowing the opposite of what it is to be in that Garden of Eden, to be in that place of union and wholeness, to know the opposite, to experience the extremes. And that is why temperance was showing up so much for us. Reminder that temperance was the card that came up for our weekend, starting us off with what we needed to know. I did a 3-card spread to know, to do, and be this weekend. And the energy of temperance came forward to talk about that middle way, towing that balance in the middle of finding, look how tiny it looks next to me. I'm sorry. I know I have seen pocket-sized decks before, but there's just something about seeing like one of my most favorite soul decks in this little form that is so cute. I can't, I'm going to be like this on the live for a while tonight when I see these cards. These are the ones I'll be pulling for your personal card pulls. So this energy of finding that balance in between that fire and water, the energy of yin and yang, of masculine, feminine, of doing and being, of light and shadow, of all of those extremes coming into a central point. And so the Lovers also speaks to the potential to make the choice to bring in that harmony in our gardens, in our relationships, in our lives. Okay, so that's a really beautiful energy to wrap up this week and sort of give us some little breadcrumbs into September and the rest of this year at least, but everything that we're moving into and through now as we continue on our way into later eclipse season and a lot of other powerful aspects that are coming up down the pike. This work that we're doing now, that again can be uninspiring, boring, mundane, tedious, feeling very disconnected from those things or not feeling any meaning in those things. They're all part and parcel of those little seeds, big seeds, and everything in between that are a part of this journey that we are on collectively, individually, at soul level. So there's partnerships and connections and relationships that are serving this up for you. So sometimes that shows up in ways that are pretty and sparkly and shiny and beautiful, and sometimes not so much. Everywhere in between. Let's take a look at the mantra for this card. So the Lovers says, my heart is open to deeply meaningful relationships, and I expand into this union with loving trust. Again, trust, faith, hope, and a knowingness, really, truly feeling into knowing that there is something. If I'm feeling out of place, out of balance right now, there's somewhere in there, if I allow myself to quiet and still and come into my body again and be grounded, to know that things are moving in a direction that will ultimately be serving my highest and best good. The other thing I wanted to say about this card, not pictured in this version, but in the traditional version and many other depictions of that, is Archangel Raphael, the Archangel of Healing. And of course, the color associated with Archangel Raphael is green, in fact, the emerald ray. So again, I love this nod to, again, remembering that nourishment was bringing forth the emerald, which is a crystal that I brought out on the altar when I was doing the new moon in Leo readings as well, bringing in the emerald for, again, healing and harmony in our relationships and the heart healing that is needed at this time in order for us to truly evolve and expand beyond these limitations and these things that have had us playing small, believing that we are not enough, thinking that it was something for others but not for us, things that happen in their garden but not in our garden, all those types of limiting beliefs. So I'm going to spray that energy again and send some of that. This is emerald renewal and recovery, but also Archangel Raphael is also the emerald ray in the color healing line from Angelic Celestial Colors that I work with in my Metatron color healing practice that bring forward an opportunity for balance, healing, and harmony. And of course, even though there was no cups showing up, we know we have that Pisces energy. There is the watery aspect of the heart chakra healing and the potential that we have at this time to really harness that energy and bring it down and ground into that energy here and now, bringing heaven to earth through our healing, through the work that you are doing every day, step by step by step. Okay, so that is the messages I'm getting so far for this week. I know once we get together tonight on the live, we'll be inspired. More things will come through. Your personal card pulls always add meaning. And again, when I'm pulling a card for one person, there's always a message in there for everyone. So if you can attend and you would like to join us, everyone is welcome tonight, Sunday, at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, you might be watching this after. No worries at all. Again, I'm offering free will offerings for personal card pulls on that live, but also here. If you are watching this on my Sharecast, or if you're watching it, sometimes I share these over on my social media platforms when I'm playing the game and stirring it around, and I go, come see me, and then nobody sees it. But I put it out there just in case, inviting you to come here. You are also welcome to a personal card pull whenever you are seeing this. So just let me know, give me a shout, and I will pull a personal card just for you to go with all of these messages. So if I don't see you on the live tonight, I hope to see you here on the Sharecast. And again, as we wind down this week, I'm going to be kicking off an all new Sharecast for September. So look out for an invitation to join me on a new September Empowerment Sharecast. Where I will be bringing in all of the weekly messages and all the lunations and extras and goodies and exclusivity over there. I will be sharing about the Empowerment Pack for September and how you can come along. And then also, I have not forgotten, well, I know it's going to be backwards, but the Grow in the Flow giveaway this month. I have all the exciting gifts and prizes and items that are in the giveaway. Many of you have already entered into. I'm working on tallying up all of the entries, and I will have a live drawing for the winner this week, before September 1st. So I'm really excited to see who wins the Empower Hour session with me, along with your choice of one of two decks, of the beautiful card holder, of the altar cloth, and all of the goodies that are in that bundle. So if you haven't seen that yet, there are details here in the Sharecast, but also pinned on my social media for details on how you can get in on the giveaway. If you are watching this over on one of my social media channels and haven't followed me over on the Sharecast, the free app where you can join me, do so, because you automatically get 3 entries into this giveaway by joining me on the Sharecast. So thank you guys. I hope you like this format. It's a work in progress of figuring out what works best. Again, balancing those scales, but I appreciate you all so much. I'm sending you so much love, many blessings for a beautiful week ahead, and hope to see you on the live or here around the Sharecast this week. Much love.